Hi everybody, welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And you can find me online at stampingwithmelva.com. It's Tuesday, and on Tuesdays I share a sketch with you. It's, I think, my favorite day because I get to create a sketch and then share a card using the sketch. So today I don't know I was inspired by a card that I got on the incentive trip swap that I participated in. I've changed it up just a little bit, and I'm going to use, I'm going to use the it's called Mediterranean Blooms suite from the annual catalog for this. So I thought that it's kind of a really pretty sketch. And so I think it'll go nicely with this suite. Hey, Deborah, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to switch over. Now, this sketch will go live on Instagram and Facebook in about a half hour's time. If you miss any of the measurements or you want to grab the image of the sketch so you can play along. Don't forget to share your projects in my group if you're part of my group, because I love to see what you're working on. So this is the sketch. So your card base, which is the blue base, is 5.5 by 8.5 or 4.25 by 11. Layer 3 is 3 3/4 by 5, so just 1/4 inch smaller than it typically is for the first layer. And then a little strip, 1/4 inch by 3 3/4. Could be cardstock, could be ribbon, all your choice. The blue is 1 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then for the sentiment, I've said 1/2 inch by 1 3/4, and I'm going to try and keep it like that because it kind of fits perfectly underneath this layer number 3. And then I've got a shape. It doesn't have to be a circle, but I put a circle in there that's about 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. Mine's actually going to be a little bit bigger because I'm going to use a piece of the designer series paper from the Citrus Blooms or the Mediterranean Blooms suite. So that's the sketch. So let me show you what I'm using. This is the Citrus Blooms bundle, which is from that Mediterranean Blooms suite. So really pretty. I've used this before. I love these images, and then some really nice sentiments. And then the dies, I'm not using this today, but I have used this in the past. This great big label. And then you can make a frame of leaves, more leaves. And then you have 2 dies, of course, to cut out the stamped images. And then some standalone dies for leaves and big flowers and these little tiny flowers. Really pretty bundle. Okay, let's put these back in here before I lose them. All right, and then, so the other part of this suite are these, they're called opal rounds or opal round assortment, I think, in Night of Navy, yellow, and then white. And then some really pretty designer series paper, and I've only got a couple of sheets of it here, so I'm going to use, one side is all kind of navy and white and balmy blue, kind of like tile. And then on the other side are the citrus images. So I'm using the tile kind of. And then this one I pulled out because the 2 dies that cut out the stamped images will cut out the images from this. So this is the smaller one, and then the larger die will cut out that. So it's really fun. So you have 2 of these pieces of designer series paper that actually you can just cut out the images and you don't have to worry about doing any coloring. So if you don't like coloring, then that's the designer series paper for you. Okay, so what else have I got here? I've got a piece, it's all my bits, there we go. I've got a piece, oh, found a die. Not sure what that little die is from, but we'll put that over on my desk. I think it's from the country birdhouses. I was using it the other day. So I've used a 4.25 by 11, and I'm scoring at 5.5. And we will fold into the mountain or the raised line and use our bone folder. Okay, so this piece of designer series paper is going to be my layer number 1. And then I cut a piece of Daffodil Delight. So this is my layer number 2, which is 1/4 inch by 3 3/4. You could have used ribbon or designer series paper or another color cardstock. I just thought that the yellow, which will go with my piece that I cut out from my designer series paper, will look quite nice with this. Now, my layer number 3 is Night of Navy, so I'm just going to kind of put that on here so I can position that roughly where I want it. So that's just going to go across like that. Now I've got a little bit of extra glue. A couple of tips with glue. One, I could have let that sit for a minute before I put it on, so it starts to get tacky and then it doesn't splodge out. But sometimes I will take my tip on my take your pick tool. Yay, hey Sharon, welcome. And just kind of pick that glue up. The other thing you can do is use the adhesive sheets, put it on the back of the cardstock before you cut it out, and then you don't have to worry about glue at all. Okay. I love yellow and Night of Navy together, or I'm going to use a little bit of orange. So this is going to, this piece, which is layer number 3, is just going to butt up against this piece like that. Okay, now where did here it is. So I went ahead and cut out this really pretty piece. So I'm just going to put it on like that, and I'm going to use dimensionals on this one. Look, this is one of the other ones. This isn't that pretty? That tile is absolutely gorgeous. When I was Mexico had some amazing tile in the resort, but the other place I spent a lot of time taking pictures of tile was a trip to Portugal in 2014, I think. Oh my gosh, the tile over in Portugal and Spain too is just stunning. Okay, so this is just going to go on like that. Look at how pretty that is. Oh, yeah, I know. I think it's going to be a long summer. Northeastern British Columbia and Alberta has got some fires going on already. Gosh, it's too early for that. Okay, so I'm going to use this hello, and I've cut, which is amazing for me because you guys know me. I tend to fussy cut my sentiments. But here I am. I cut a piece of basic white cardstock, a 1/2 inch by 1 3/4, so it fits the exact same size as my Night of Navy. So it's just going to go below that Night of Navy. And I'm going to try and just make sure. I like to test these because sometimes I don't get my label on completely straight, and sometimes not too bad, I don't put a label on at all. So I usually test my sentiment before I stamp it. And I'm just going to glue this on flat. Okay. Got a little piece of something. I think it's a little piece of, I don't know what that is on my cardstock. All right, so now I only need to, well, actually I cut some of, I've lost one. Oh, no, I haven't. Okay, so I've cut, there are 2 dies that cut out these little tiny, what look like stars, but I think are flowers. And I took, because they're so little, I went ahead and put them onto my glue dots. And I'm just going to kind of fold up the petals just so they look like flowers a little bit more. And I'm going to I'm not sure how many of these I'm going to put on, but I thought that the orange would go nicely with my colors in that the die cut image from the designer series paper. So I'm just kind of trying to fold up these petals gently so it looks a little bit more like a flower. Push down, there we go. All right, so I'll do that. Some of the little tiny ones, the glue dot is actually just a little bit bigger, but that's okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. I think it is, yeah, thank you, Lori. I love the navy and yellow together. Now, these opal, so I'm going to use, let's see. One went flying. Oh, no, there it is. Thought I'd lost it. I think it's going to show up. I was worried about the yellow showing up on that Night of Navy paper, but I think it'll be okay. And I'm going to put one there. There. All right, now the last thing I need to do is to put something on the inside of the card. So I've got a piece of basic white, 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I cut a piece of the designer series paper that is 3/4 of an inch by 4. And I'll just put that along the bottom. And then this can go on the inside of the card. I've had this bundle and you've seen me use it, but up until last week, I didn't have the designer series paper or the opal rounds because we weren't able to order them as part of the pre-order. I got the bundle as while I was at Onstage for one of it's called Onstage After Hours in March. And so we were able to, it was an add-on event, and we were able to get a bundle, and I chose this one. And so I've been playing with the bundle a little bit, but I'm so excited to get this designer series paper that is just so pretty, and these opal rounds. All right, so there is my sketch. And if I bring my sketch in, I stayed pretty true to what the sketch is. So don't forget, that sketch will go live on Instagram and Facebook in about 15 minutes time if you want to grab it. Now, Citrus Blooms is the stamp set that we're using this month for the New Your Creativity Awaits. So if you're interested in that, it's a kit that includes the stamp set and 6 cards. 2 of those cards are fancy folds. And so this month it's the Citrus Blooms stamp set. You can add on the dies for extra. And so if you're interested in that and you live in Canada, you can find that information. I sent it out in my newsletter, and I'll be posting it in my Facebook group tomorrow. So if you don't subscribe to my newsletter, you can head over to my blog. So it's stampingwithmelva.com, and you can subscribe to my newsletter and then get all the information about my upcoming events. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. Now, I will be live tomorrow at 2 o'clock Pacific with a technique. And so come join me then. And until then, happy stamping. Bye.